Okay. protest tomorrow? You don't?
I don't think so. Not here. I'm sure there's one in the Bay Area somewhere. All right, guys, we're over at the Adobe Center Park for the second protest this week. Since last week. Again, we're here at the Adobe Center Park for another Black Lives Matter protest. This protest started over at Castro Valley Boulevard and Redwood Road and walked down the boulevard here. There you have it. Supervisor Nate Miley is here. And this protest was organized by students and students alone. Pretty soon they're supposed to have some speakers here, so just bear with us.
Afternoon, everyone. Why are we here? Say it louder. A little louder. One more time. Very good, very good. Some of you don't know who I am. I'm Nate Miley. I'm the county supervisor for this area. Nadine asked me to come out and say a few words, and I want to just thank Nadine and everyone else who helped to organize today. So, she's over there. So yeah, thanks for coming out. This is really fantastic to see so many people here for this rally. This is just excellent, excellent. Before I make some remarks regarding the rally, let me just say a few things because I'd be remiss if I didn't. Please wear your mask, practice social distancing, remember all of that. You know, we do have a pandemic going on relative to coronavirus, and it's just really important that we continue to remind people of that pandemic. So please do that. Secondly, if you haven't done the census, sign up and complete the census form. Complete the census form. It's important that you do that. Because with the census, it means resources for Alameda County. It brings in hundreds of millions of resources, and if we don't have everybody complete the census, then we lose those resources, and the census takes place every 10 years. And also it helps to determine political representation and political boundaries. So that's another important reason to do the census. And then the third thing I want to say is, how many of you can register? How many of you are old enough to register and vote? There are a lot of you out there. How many of you plan on voting? Does everyone plan on voting? Please, vote. It's important that you vote because your vote does matter. Your vote has consequences. Your vote helps to determine these types of policies and actions and strategies. So it's important that you register and vote. And those that are not old enough to register to vote just yet, or can't register and vote, Your voices are still important. So come out and make your voices heard, because you can influence other people to understand your positions, even if you can't register and you can't vote. You still have a voice. Am I right? Do you still have a voice? You certainly do. Now, it was definitely criminal for George Floyd to be killed in Minneapolis. There was no, as far as I could tell, no justification for that. It was totally unwarranted. And in the county, we have a violence prevention plan that we adopted many years ago that talks about the unsanctioned use of force. And that is an example of the unsanctioned use of force. We do not feel that the unsanctioned use of force should be tolerated or justified or warranted. So it's unfortunate that that happened again, but I really do feel that with the work that all of you are doing and that's taking place throughout the Bay Area, throughout this state, throughout this country, will indeed make a difference. I really feel that this is a turning point. And I met with the Sheriff's Department today. We're working on ensuring that we can move ahead with some reforms and some changes in Alameda County. So I'll be working with the Sheriff's Department. And then I talked to the district attorney as well. And the district attorney, she has a committee that's looking into all of this, and she had a committee looking into all this. So we're taking those steps, but we're going to be taking other steps beyond that as well, because we know there's a lot that people would like to see done. And we don't want to dismiss anything, but we want to make sure we're able to implement those things that we think we can do, that we think are meaningful, that we think are reasonable. But under no circumstances is the unsanctioned use of force tolerated, justified, and should be allowed. So your voices are extremely important. Then I just want to say, as an African-American male, I really feel that African Americans have suffered historically for many, 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 many decades, centuries. And it's time for that to come to a change. But the one thing I feel is different now is there are a lot of other voices speaking on that matter. Whereas before, we didn't have this level of voices speaking to this. And I really feel, like Martin Luther King said, just to paraphrase him, the arc of the universe bends towards justice, bends towards righteousness, the arc of the universe. It doesn't happen instantaneously. What's happened now helps to move that arc more towards righteousness and justice. So this is not a sprint. This is a marathon to ensure that the arc of righteousness, that arc doesn't lean back towards injustice, immorality, unlawful behavior, but continues to bend towards justice. Your voices can ensure that that happens. So I want to thank you for coming out and demonstrating in a peaceful manner, in a peaceful manner, because peaceful protest, it's your right to assemble, it's your right to speak up. We just encourage that you continue to do that peacefully, and I can see that you're doing that, once again, very peacefully. Finally, I'll just say, as we move this agenda forward, we're looking for more racial justice to address the problems of injustice. We're looking to examine the social norms that we have in Alameda County to make sure that we're adhering to the social norms that all of us fundamentally believe in, those values: truth, justice, righteousness. We also want to make sure that we hold police accountable. We want to make sure we hold police accountable. And I don't want to get up here and be hypocritical. I am a supporter of law enforcement. I'm a supporter of public safety. But I'm a supporter of, as President Obama said, of constitutional policing. Of policing where police are not lawyers, but they're guardians. They're guardians. They're here to serve and protect. Here to serve and protect as guardians, not as lawyers. So with that being said, thank you for coming out. I would like to bring up Anna. Where is Anna? Anna, so she's going to come up and talk to you. So thank you all. Once again, why are we here? I can't hear you. One more time. All right.
I'll be honest, I'm not that good at public speaking, but I'm gonna try. Okay. I've lived in Castro Valley my whole life. I mainly grew up with white teachers, only had white friends, and my elementary school only had 2 other black kids in it. The adults always taught me that I'd have to work a lot harder to get the same opportunities my white friends would get. I was told that there were things that I shouldn't really expect to achieve when I was older. And then there were comments that my so-called best friends would say. When I was younger, they said, "We shouldn't really play in the sun so much. I don't really want to end up looking like you." Or once I got older, it became a lot of not to be racist jokes, followed by asking for permission to say the N-word. And I just let that go on in my life without any arguments. Every uncomfortable feeling I had, disappointment, anger, sadness, I just kept it in and I internalized it. And because of that, I felt like I was unworthy of success, I was insecure, and honestly, I just felt like my life was disposable. But I know now that that's not how life has to be lived. And I know now that change can and will be made. I don't want there to be another kid like me that cries themselves to sleep in kindergarten just because they're black. How bad does an environment have to be to make a 6-year-old hate themselves just because of the color of their skin? And I don't want to walk down the streets in a nice neighborhood and scared that I'm going to get shot and killed because my color confessed to a crime that I didn't commit. And I don't want to go on social media and see innocent black people being murdered and having their killers just walk free. I mean, it's not a surprise that the system is broken. It was built like this from the start. But tell me why the system will protect power-hungry cops who can murder, torture, assault, and harass innocent people, but all get in trouble just because I'm black. You can say cops are in more danger and fear their life too, but they signed up to be cops and I didn't choose to be born black. And you can say white people get killed more by cops, but forget the fact that white people make up 60% of the population, but black people are 3 times as likely to get shot and killed. You need to stop denying that there's a problem. And people need to stop saying what's right and wrong when they've never been affected by the problem. I mean, no matter how hard we protest, no matter how we fight, it's never going to be seen as right. We tried to kneel, and they said we were being disrespectful. We tried to peacefully walk out, but let's be honest, people can forget about that in a blink. It came to the point where every single time we lost another life, it was swept under the rug. But this time it's going to be different. We're not going to let this slide. We're not going to let murderers be protected. At this point, why should we follow the rules if the people that are supposed to enforce them won't follow them themselves? These materialistic items that everyone is arguing about can and will be replaced, but the lives that have been taken for no reason will never come back. And yeah, we got the officers involved in George Floyd's murder arrested, but that does not mean that this is over. We have Breonna Taylor, who was shot 8 times sleeping after the police raided the wrong home. We have Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy who was shot and killed because he was playing with a toy gun in the park. We have Philando Castillo, who was shot 7 times after letting an officer know that he had a licensed gun in the car. We have Eric Garner, who was killed with an illegal chokehold because he was selling single cigarettes. We have Elijah McClain, arrested, tortured, and murdered for suspicious activity after buying tea on a cold day. We have Kayla Moore, a black trans woman living with schizophrenia, arrested and restrained, who died having 6 Berkeley Police Department officers on her back until she stopped breathing. We have so many more lives that have been taken away that still deserve justice, and we will not stop fighting until justice is served. And on top of justice, we deserve a change in the system with its funding and overall purpose, but also a change in these communities and the environment that we create. To start, we need to stop allowing racism into our everyday lives. Parents, if your child ever makes a bad comment based on someone's skin color, sorry, I lost it. Take the time to teach them to love and respect one another. Racism is not something that you're born with, it's taught to us subconsciously and upfront. And people, if your non-black friend says the N-word, put them in their place. Do not justify their actions. Do not keep them passive, and do not stay silent. To teachers and administrators, stop making black students feel stupid, useless, and worthless. Stop profiling them, stop giving them harsher consequences, and stop trying to make your schools look more diverse without caring about their treatment. Start educating kids on racism and teach them that it still happens today. Start telling black kids that they have a chance to succeed in life. If we keep allowing racism in our school systems and communities, then we're allowing our next doctors, teachers, and officers to have racist beliefs. And we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to hide the systematic oppression and racism continue, and we're not going to let black people and their struggles be silenced. That is why, if you're white, please stand up for this movement. Acknowledge your privilege and use it to not only protect people of color, but to amplify their voices. Do not speak for black people. Do not tell them how to act and feel, and do not expect them to educate you on every single thing in history. Realize that you are privileged enough to get to learn about this struggle and not to experience it yourself. And if you're black, I want you to know that your feelings are valid. You're allowed to be tired right now. You're allowed to be overwhelmed. Just know that you deserve to be treated equally. You deserve to be safe and happy. You deserve a chance to live. And although it's sad that we even have to fight for equality, a basic human right, I expect everyone here to keep on fighting. Keep posting on social media, post and sign petitions, donate to organizations, have discussions with people who don't already agree. And if you're allowed to, protest as much as you can. Without a doubt, we are stronger together, and together we can and will make a change for the future.
Wow, that was amazing, wasn't it? Let's give Anna another round of applause, man. I just want to start off my remarks with a couple of stories. They may seem a little local, but they're definitely relevant in this time. In 2009, BART police stopped Oscar Grant in Oakland. One police officer kneeled on his back. Security cameras then showed another officer calling him the N-word for shooting him in the back. 2018, 2 Hayward police officers responded to a threat outside of a home. There they found Augie Gonzalez holding what appeared to be a knife. Once they arrived on scene, Augie Gonzalez begged for them to kill him. He was suicidal. He had a history of mental illness. Within 7 seconds of arriving on scene, they shot him 14 times. In 2019, Emerald Black and her fiance were coming home from a doctor's visit at Alta Base Hospital. Emerald was pregnant, about to give birth. They were stopped by San Leandro police officers who ordered Emerald out of the car.
When she refused, saying that it would be better for her to stay in the car since she was pregnant, they dragged her out, threw her on the floor, and stomped on her stomach. 5 days later, she suffered a miscarriage. I'm not telling you these stories just because they're sad, but because police brutality isn't happening only in Los Angeles or in other parts of the country. It's here. It's local. And we need to fight it here, all right? Thank you to everyone who came out today. Let me just remind everyone that this was organized by CVHS students. So I just want to say to all the allies out there are 3 things you can do. Educate, organize, and most importantly, vote. As Nate Miley said, your vote matters. Because it's not just the presidential election or Senate elections that matter, it's local elections as well. The city council, the DA, the police chief, the mayor, everyone who you vote for who has power over what comes and what goes and the policing that happens in their cities and in the Bay Area, we have power over that. You guys have power over that. Thank you guys. In Hayward, when the family of Augie Gonzalez confronted the city council and Mayor Halliday, she yelled at them to leave or they would be forcibly removed. They are still trying to find justice for the killers of Augie Gonzalez. And the people who are on the force who killed Augie Gonzalez that day are still working right now. Secondly, you guys have to educate yourselves. Not just educate yourselves, but educate others too. Don't just read the same Facebook posts, the same Instagram posts, the same Twitter accounts. Don't just look at the same news channels. You guys have to branch out, look at different perspectives as well. Find out stuff that you didn't know before. Have those difficult conversations with people who might not have the same exact opinions that you do. Because if you don't, then who will? If you're too scared to talk about this movement in front of your friends, then those aren't friends you really should be having, are they? If one of your friends says something that you think is racist, or as Anna says, is asking for the N-word pass, or is saying the N-word, and you say nothing, then you're part of the problem. So parents, please educate your kids. It's not okay to say the N-word if you're not black. I don't know why that's even a debate. Next thing, you guys need to organize. We have social media in our power. From 1966 to 1982, the Black Panthers organized all across the country. In their height, they had 78 chapters in multiple cities and prisons across the U.S. What did they have to communicate? Mail and telephone. We have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have Facebook, we have much, much more than they have. So let's make a difference with it. Let's use it for good. Let's not use it for bigotry and for hatred and for shaming others. Let's use it to organize and to put an end to this police brutality. Let's keep this momentum going. I know this has been pretty short, but I just want to end it off by saying this movement is about lives. It's about black people trying to stay alive in a system that has oppressed us for hundreds of years. The system of the police has been a racist system since its beginning, starting in the 1800s with slave patrols. So we're not saying to abolish the police. Or well, no, okay. We are saying to abolish the police as we know it. And these practices. Sorry, I'm not too good at public speaking, sorry. End these practices like stop and frisk in New York City, and put people in power that will stand up for the community that elected them there. Because keep in mind, a lot of these attacks happens in democratic cities, right? So if they're not going to do their job protecting the people who they swore to protect, then get them out and put someone in there who will. And if you can't vote for whatever reason, then sign petitions, make donations, text Floyd to 55156. Make a difference with your time. We're all basically at home because of coronavirus, so let's make a difference with it. Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is and I'm a Castro Valley High graduate 2020. Thank you. So I just want to start off by thanking all of you for coming out and supporting the Black Lives Matter movement during this pandemic, and your willingness to protest police brutality and the public lynchings of countless Black men and women. We're not here just protesting the murder of one man, George Floyd. We're protesting over 400 years of oppression and demanding justice and equality for Black people in America. The police are not here to protect and serve Black communities. They're here to do exactly what they were invented to do when they were called the Runaway Slave Patrol. Mass incarceration is modern-day slavery, and prisons are filled with Black and brown bodies who work for little to no pay and are stripped of their basic human rights. They can't vote, and they're just seen as a criminal. Even the 13th Amendment, which supposedly abolished slavery, really just transformed it into the prison system. And when you read it, it's obvious. The amendment says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime, shall exist within the United States. So as soon as Black people were free, we're immediately portrayed as criminals. We could have a whole nother discussion about how the war on drugs was really a war on Black and brown communities. But we're not here for that today. Today, we're here to stand up to police brutality and the whole corrupt criminal justice system. Now that we're beginning to acknowledge systematic oppression, you may be thinking, what's next? We need major reform. For decades, law enforcement has been an institution for structural racism, and police have been trained to have implicit bias and associate dark skin with crime. It must stop now. I'm going to share with y'all 5 possible ways the police all across America can use to reform. Number 1, banning chokeholds and all physical restraints on or above the neck. 2, requiring mandatory de-escalation once given compliance. 3, requiring officers to render immediate medical aid for all people in need. Number 4, mandatory requirement that officers intervene when there's excessive use of force. And number 5, requirement of all use of force to be recorded via body cameras. These are just 5 different ways the police can use to begin to reform. But now I want to share with y'all one last way we all can use to reform. Not just the police, but every single one of us. Holding each other accountable. Whether it be police officers holding other police accountable for excessive force and misconduct, or it be you holding the people around you accountable for their prejudice or racist actions and comments. No matter what color our skin is, we all bleed red. And in 2020, there is no excuse for racism. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. My name's Amaya. I'm Amaya Minor. I'm a freshman at CVHS. I don't really have anything prepared, but one thing I did want to talk about is racism. Okay, then. So, if you didn't know, I'm Black and Filipino, mixed. And, you know, my parents are fairly young. I have a Black dad, amazing. Filipino mother, amazing, right? But it wasn't until I was 10 that I had to think about what would happen if my father was pulled over. The same way Sandra Bland was treated or surrender tested. I've never had to think about it until I was 10 and fear that one day I wouldn't have a father. And I don't think anyone should ever have to think about losing a parent, no matter the circumstance. And to think about how Sandra Bland died and how they just treated her, it's horrific. No one should have to go through that. But on the other hand, I'm also Filipino. You know, you would think that racism, on the other hand, doesn't exist. But when you hear your grandparents say words like nig or negrita, you think that, you try to push it off because it's nothing, They're still your family, you still love them. But what's important is that you have to teach them that that's not okay. You can't let them say that. Because it hurts. It hurts. Even when you just hear it talking in a conversation in a different language, it hurts. And it's hard to tell your 70-year-old grandfather that you can't say that word anymore because it's not okay. Even if you're a family, So it's important that we have those conversations. So, yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! Say his name! Say his name! No justice! No justice! Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Darlene Washington Barnes. I know that's a lot, but I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be here and speak. I hit Nadine literally last minute, like, hey, I just got up with the group. Can I get on the mic for a minute? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. So thank you guys. I want y'all to give yourselves a round of applause for being here. It takes a lot of courage because I'm sure you got backlash from family and friends and associates saying, why are you going there? Why does it matter? It doesn't affect you. So thank you for being courageous enough to stand. Thank you for being courageous enough to speak out. Thank you for being courageous enough to post. Have difficult conversations with friends and family. Because even though it may not seem like it, you are making a difference. I want to set a few reminders and then eventually quickly shed light on a situation that I'm sure most of you haven't even heard about.
But as those reminders go, I want to make sure that we understand that this is not just a policing issue. Because the media will make it seem like we're only fighting this battle on one front. But it is an overarching system of racism and oppression that has had their knees on their necks for over 500 years. We are no longer standing for it. We've been told to wait. We've been told to peacefully protest. We've been told to write letters and stand in offices. And we still are dying in the streets every day. This is a situation that goes beyond police brutality. It's in our healthcare. It's in our racist politicians. It's in our racist constitution. When the Constitution was written, I was not considered a human. Therefore, in 2020, it still does not protect me. I have to literally use my body as a shield to bring justice for my next generation. This is not just about police brutality. We don't hate the police. We hate the racist system that they have to enforce. Our children's lives are at stake every day when we send them to education systems that don't care about giving them a proper education. Systematic racism. Our healthcare is, black women die at tremendous rates in childbirth to this day because we aren't considered as in pain as others. Systematic racism. Our neighborhoods are living in poverty. Systematic racism. We have food droughts. We're dying every day, and they want us to think that it is just on one front, but I'm here to make sure we know and that we stand up on all fronts. That we no longer call our politicians. We show up at their offices unannounced. It's one thing to say that you're making change on our behalf, but it's another to sit down with us, share a meal with us, and ask us, how do you feel? What can we do to better your life and your better situation instead of just thinking this is what black people need? We need to make sure we're in the room with them at all times when they're making serious and important decisions that affect our lives. It's not okay to just let them tell us, oh, we're working on this, we have this in the works. I want to be in the meeting. I volunteer as tribute. I want to make sure they stick to their words and put it into action and put the pen to the paper. Another reminder, it's about policy change. It is about procedure and practice and law change. I don't want reform. I want a total breakdown and rebuild. I don't want to give them a chance to rewrite me out. We will tear down the system and rebuild it with the hands of the people. Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! No justice! No justice! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name! We will see change. We are the change. When we look back at this in 5 years, I don't want any of us to have to sit and say, I wasn't a part of it, I missed out, I'm sorry. I want to be able to tell our children, we stood for you. We use our bodies as shields. We use our voices to carry change across nations. Make sure everybody knows that Castro Valley is on the map for change. No justice! No justice! And as another reminder as to why this is not just one front, why this is a fight on an overarching system of oppression, how many of y'all have heard of Sean Washington? A 29-year-old black male who checked into a Kaiser hospital at 12 a.m. and was pronounced dead by 8:21 a.m. None of you. Because the media won't portray it, the newspapers won't talk about it, and of course our healthcare and politicians don't give a damn. Sean Washington was my brother, my big brother. I sat in the hospital with him for 8 hours, watching his lungs actively fill with blood, while healthcare officials sat around and cared more about the color of his skin and his insurance status than actually saving his life. Sean now has a almost 1-year-old daughter that he never got a chance to meet, that he'll never get to take to a dance,
that he'll never get to practice cheer routines with, that he'll never just get to laugh with and let her feel the warm embrace of her father. We are losing our mothers, our fathers, our children, our nieces, our nephews to this racist, broken system, and we will no longer stand for it. Sean was left to die that day. His cause of death was his asphyxiation on the blood filling in his lungs. Asphyxiation has become a common thing in this country. We have literally had foot on our necks from the beginning of time. Before I was born, I was considered a crime. Stand with me. Fight with me. Love with me so that I don't have to keep telling these stories. So that you don't have to come out here and protest in the streets and demonstrate. So that our children don't have to be here 15 years from now. Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! I want y'all to say my brother's name. Sean Washington. Say his name! Sean Washington! Say his name! Sean Washington! Say his name! Sean Washington! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! The revolution is here and it will be nationwide. We're taking it past posts on social media. We're taking it past demonstrations in the street. I will stand at City Hall until my legs can no longer feel themselves if it means that's what it takes to make change. I don't want temporary. I don't want soothing. I don't want respectability politics. I want the laws to change. Like Zaria, I believe that's the baby girl's name, like she said. Put the pen to the paper. We can talk about it all day. We are here to make sure that it actually happens. That 5 years from now, we're not meeting up again at this park to say Black Lives Matter or Brown Lives Matter. Next time I want to meet up at this park to say thank you. Job well done. I feel the change. I see the change. And I am the change. And I will continue to make change. We've been dealing with this for too long. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're sick and tired of being the only ones fighting for oxygen. We're the only ones that can't breathe. Stand with me. Lastly, we have to do this as a unified, organized, strategized community. It's one thing for us to stand one by one, but when we link arms and look strangers in the face and say, I love you, you're my brother. I fight for you, you're my sister. I stand for you, you're my cousin. That's how we change the world. That's how we change generations upon generations upon generations upon generations. I want to thank y'all, like I said, for having me, for listening to me, and for taking a stand in your community. Repeat after me. When I say the revolution, you say it's here. The revolution is here! The revolution is here! Hold on. I can't hear y'all. Come on now. The revolution is here! The revolution is here!
Workplace. I wish my sister could go out in the future not worrying of the color of her skin. You know, it's wonderful to see such a big group of diverse people united for one cause, which is to bring justice to those innocent black lives that have been taken solely because of the color of their skin. We are here today to cry out the names of hundreds of black lives that have been killed and falsely prosecuted. We are here to eliminate the silence that authority wants so much. We are here to show America that we will not stand for the injustices that countless people have to deal with. I think to myself as I hang out with my family, call my friends, read a book, that George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many others like them can't do that anymore. Because those monsters that don't deserve to be called police have violently murdered and ruined those precious lives. I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. George Floyd said as that police officer kept his dirty knee on his neck for about 9 minutes. And those other officers who just stood there and watched that man's life being taken away for no reason are no better. This world lost Breonna Taylor, a model citizen who loved her family and community, and worked at 2 hospitals during the pandemic. About a month ago, a division of the Louisville Police Department performed an illegal, unannounced drug raid in Breonna's house, shooting 8 shots at her out of the 22 shots fired. Not only were they in the wrong house, but the man they were looking for was already arrested that day. You would think COVID-19 would put her life at risk more, when really it is the color of her skin. Ahmaud Arbery, chased and gunned down in his own neighborhood by a retired police officer and his son, while on a job. So you're telling me I can't go on a job without worrying about my life? J.O. Pedro, Tony McCain, Emerald Black, Michael Brown, Dante Parker, George Mann, Tony Robinson, and hundreds of more stories that need to be heard. So when the white noise and those who are against the yellow movement ask, why are we so angry, so fed up, so tired and so loud? My people answer, we are tired. Tired of the years and years of injustice on our people, the use of unnecessary violence on our people, and being seen as criminals, savages, thugs, and unworthy. We are tired of being ignored. The reason they ask such foolish questions is because they are scared. Scared of the massive waves of change that will come to America. They're scared of the unity that we bring for Black Lives Matter. They're scared of the masses walking the streets we share all across the 50 states and the world. Think about it. Think about it. People from all 50 states have gathered to put their fists in the air for Black Lives Matter. Because our lives matter. A man named Trevor Noah said, society is like a contract. We as citizens sign to promise we will do our parts. Now it is time for authority to sign and promise rights and protection to each and every individual, no matter the color of their skin. No justice, no peace. We are stronger together. No freedom till we're equal. Say his name, say her name, say their names. We will not stop here. We will keep peacefully fighting till justice is being served to my people. We will keep peacefully fighting till hatred against races is stopped being taught generation after generation. We will keep fighting till freedom is brought to Black lives. We will keep fighting until authority gets their knees off of our necks. Because at the end of the day, when we all fall, we all bleed the same damn color. Not being racist or posting a hashtag is simply not enough for change to come. We will all need to take action. Sign petitions, call, email, text, donate, educate ourselves, and vote in order for our voices to be heard loud and clear. Silence will not protect us. This is just the beginning of a revolution. No justice? No peace! No justice? No peace! Say it louder! No justice? No peace! Thank you.
Hi, I'm here speaking for my father who couldn't come to the protest today, but he wanted to say his story out of the many. I'm just going to read what he wrote. My name is Sydney Holloway. I'm a 57-year-old African-American man, and in the past experience experiences, I have had a lot of police brutality. In those experiences, one of them stuck out the most. One day I was trying to get on the bus and only had $2.45 of a $2.50 bus fare. They wouldn't allow me to come on, and they proceeded to call the police. In a matter of 1 or 2 minutes, 4 to 5 police officers came without questioning me and immediately started to tase, beat me with a club, and throw me to the ground. As a result of that, I was severely injured in my hip. After they handcuffed me and forcibly put me in the car, they claimed charges such as avoiding fare and resisting arrest. Although today I still have issues with my hip and not be able to walk long distances at a time and PTSD from other encounters, I still remain a law-abiding citizen in a country whose laws and law enforcement do not protect me. And I'm hoping in the near future there will be a change in our law enforcement in society. Please, as youth, do something and try to help make a change, because in the past we haven't done a great job. We tried, but nothing has happened. Thank you for listening, and I hope something happens. And that was what he wanted to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you all for coming out to support, and I hope that as a group and a youth and a society, we can all do something to fix it. This is not how things should be done. This is how we should all be equal. And I appreciate all the effort and hope that you guys are bringing. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elijah Bradford. I'm a recent graduate from Doherty Valley High School, and I actually went here to Castro Valley High when I was a freshman, so it's an honor to be before you today, back in my hometown where I was born and raised. And prepared a little speech today just to talk about some of the issues that have been going on, so just bear with me. 57 years ago, a man stood to deliver a speech in Washington, D.C., where he spoke some of the most iconic words in American history. He said, "Even though we face the difficulties of today and of tomorrow, I still have a dream." The dream he had was one deeply rooted in the American dream. His dream was one that one day our nation will live up to the idea that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, and may I add women, are created equal, and that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I stand before you today because it is my firm belief that as beautiful as a dream Dr. King had, this is still a dream that is yet to come fully into fruition. People of color have yet to be seen by our society as equal. People of color have yet to be able to live without fear of our lives being taken for no reason. People of color have yet to live a life of liberty where they may do as they will as long as it causes no harm to others. And finally, people of color have been repeatedly denied the right to pursue happiness. We are tired of the government trying to deny us the rights they swore to uphold, and I am personally tired of seeing good men and women that look just like me being beaten, slaughtered, and humiliated, framed on and lied upon, and overall abused continually by a country that we built. Minorities built this country, and they continue to build this country. So why does this country continue to step on the very hands that built it up? This country has no problem with black entertainers. This country has no problem with listening to music that was native to this country, that was made by African Americans, among which are rock and roll, blues, hip hop, EDM, all created by African Americans. Society has no problem with watching sports that are filled with and kept entertaining by black athletes like LeBron James, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Muhammad Ali, and let's not forget the late Kobe Bryant. Society has no problem with listening to black comedians such as Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, Key and Peele, and countless others. Society has no problem with black people feeding the entertainment industry billions upon billions of dollars every year. But when we ask our nation to stand up for black life, to stop the violence heavily aimed at black men and women, to stop the denial of black men and women to advance in their careers, to stop allowing a majority of black children to go to underfunded schools and live in impoverished neighborhoods, all of a sudden that love for our culture vanishes. All of a sudden our society is full of excuses. It fails to answer why they allow this institutionalized racism to continue to exist in the very fabric of our nation. All of a sudden, our society tries to distract from the momentous issue this country has refused to address with terms like all lives matter. If you don't like it here, why don't you just leave? You're pulling the black card. If you respected police, then they wouldn't mistreat you, and many other ignorant statements. But I say to them, all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. We will not go away or be silent because we're tired of hearing our cries for justice. And maybe if police would stop killing our men and beating our women and children, we would have more respect for them. Maybe this country would stop allowing for there to be a divide in the rights that African Americans receive versus the rights of white Americans. There wouldn't be a black card to pull. I was born and spent most of my life right here in Castro Valley. And I'm proud to say I grew up in a town that transformed from a harbor for white supremacy and hate to a town full of diversity that holds appreciation for various cultures and various cancers. I look throughout this crowd and I'm reminded of the people I grew up with. And I see very many people that I would like to know, because you, like me, believe that this hatred towards black lives needs to end. And I'd advocate that if our government refuses to change and continues to allow division and inequality to plague this country, then we will do our duty as citizens and exercise our right as is stated in the Declaration of Independence to alter or abolish the government and institute a new government laying its foundation on such principles and organizing the powers of such form as to them that shall be most likely to equate to safety and happiness. My friends, I'm here today because I, like the man who shocked the world many decades ago, I'm a dreamer. I share the dream that one day this nation will keep its promise for all of us to be seen as equal. And in closing, I say to you, my allies, my friends, and my fellow petitioners of justice and peace, let's keep that dream alive. Let us keep the dream alive that every American, regardless of race, will be granted life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let us keep alive the dream that our characters, not our cultures, will be the subject of judgment. Let us keep alive the dream that we will see and respect each other's differences in race and in lifestyle, so that European Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, Latin Americans, and Native Americans may all live together in this country in harmony under the one thing that unites us all, being American, and most of all, being human beings. Thank you very much. At this moment, if there's anyone else in the crowd that would like to give a speech, open floor.
Ask Nadine if it was okay, and if you guys don't mind, I would say a prayer. For anybody that's not religious or may not be praying to the same thing I'm praying to, that's okay. We love you anyway, and we just ask that you please sit or stand in a moment of silence and solidarity. So if you may, close your eyes, bow your heads if that's what you'd like to do. Lord, I just want to thank you for allowing us to be here today, to allowing us to wake up and have breath in our bodies and the courageous minds and hearts to step out into the street and stand for what we believe is right. Lord, I just want to thank you for bringing us all together to show unification, organization, and strategization in your name, and to be creating righteous and worthy change for not just black lives, but for all lives in this country. Lord, I just want to give you all the glory and the honor and praise for bringing people here safely, for us to be able to gather peacefully and make an example of what love can do when it overcomes all hate. This is a beautiful community all under your name, Lord, and I just thank you. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here to speak and to shake hands and just commune with these beautiful people, your children, Lord. I thank you for this day. I thank you because even though we may be tired, weary, or feel like it's time for us to give up, you keep opening doors. You keep making ways. You keep placing your arms around us for protection, Lord. I thank you for the fence that you've placed around us. I thank you for the border that you've placed around us so that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. I thank you, and I want to recognize that because of you, we are here, and we know that you have the final say, and that you are on the side of righteousness, and that blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. That is us. We are on the path of righteousness and justice, and when we are doing that, nothing can stop us because we have the Lord on our side. Lord, I just thank you. I thank you for Nadine and for all the CVHS students that had it on their minds and their hearts to be here, for their faculty and the city officials of Castro Valley for allowing them to be here today to demonstrate what they feel is right, and for joining and supporting them. Lord, without you, we are nothing. And we thank you. We give you all the honor, the glory, and the praise. And we sit peacefully with peace of mind, knowing that we will win and that the revolution is here and that it is justice, that it is righteous, and that you have the final say and that nothing formed against us shall prosper. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not on thine own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. What that means is keep fighting, keep loving, keep building bridges, keep hugging, keep standing up, keep speaking out, for the Lord is with you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We don't